Welcome back. In this video, we're going to set up an API key for our Google Maps feature. So an API key allows us to basically say, hey, we are the developer who is using up that amount of traffic. So Google or any other tool or company that offers the capabilities of using their data and using their servers and so forth, they want to know how much a given developer is using off of their resources, and they charge you for that. And in Google's case, they don't charge you for the first $200 each month, so you have a bunch of capabilities open or like traffic for free with Google Maps, which is pretty amazing. So I'm on this website, developers.google.com/maps/documentation/Android SDK, get API key. So here we're going to get an API key for the platform Android. So you can go ahead and set up in Cloud Console. So there is this button that says set up in Cloud Console once you are on this page, and that will lead you to this page where you can now go ahead and create a new project. So it basically says you need to have billing set up. So you need to go to this page and make sure that you have billing set up. Okay, so for your project, you don't need to go to Google Cloud and set up a billing account for a given project. So you can see I have a few projects here and I need to set up a credit card for any of those given projects so that I can be billed in case I exceed this quota of $200. So from this moment onward, you will need a credit card to move forward. And yeah, that's really unfortunate for those who don't have a credit card, but maybe you can get a credit card from your family or cousins or uncles or whatever and use that for it. And if you don't make any money with your application, or basically if you don't have any users, so basically for learning and testing and so forth, it's going to be free. So it's not going to cost you anything, but you need to set up a billing account. Okay, so once you have a billing account, once you are logged into your Google account and so forth, you can go over and create a new project. And if you're not logged in, it will basically prompt you to log in and register and all of that. So now you can give your project a name. So I'm going to call this project The Shopper. Okay, The Shopper. And then you see I get a project ID, The Shopper 403,909. And I cannot change it later. So this will be the name that my app will have. I need to set up a location. So the organization, I don't have an organization set up, so no organization is selected, but that is fine. So I can now go ahead and click on create. Now this will create my shopper project. And you see, I don't have any API requests. I have a project number and so forth. But what I'm interested in now is actually an API key that I can use. And I need to activate Google Maps for that first. So let's go over here to the navigation menu at the top left side, then go to APIs and services, and then go to enable APIs and services. Now here you can enable different APIs and services. And again, be very careful with that particular aspect, because don't activate APIs that you will not need and then use them somewhere or whatever, or like have the key float around in the internet, because that will eat up your quota. Okay, so go ahead and click on this button, enable APIs. This will lead you to this page. You can add SDKs directly to your application. So here in the API library, we can, for example, add the Maps SDK for Android, which is the one that I want to use. However, you can also search for it. So you can search for Maps SDK for Android, and then it will offer you this option here, and that's the one that I want to use. So here there are two different results. I have the Maps SDK for Android, this one, and I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to activate it. So there is this enable button here. In my case, it says manage already, but that's for my shopping list. Let me go to the shopper. Here you need to select the project that you want to enable it for, in case you have multiple projects. So I already did that with another project that I used for testing. So here you can go ahead and enable this API. And now for my shopper project that we set up just a few minutes ago, I will now have an API key. So it will be presented to me here. All right, there we are, getting started. So this is my API key, and it's really important that you hide your API key as well, that you don't share it with the internet or with friends or whatever. And there is automatically also a budget alert enabled, which says, hey, once I reach this free $200 monthly Google Maps credit, please alert me. So Google Maps just gives you $200 worth of traffic for your application, which is quite a bit. So you will not exceed that while testing. Don't worry about it. And unless you have some loops going crazy and so forth that will constantly like go crazy with the API. But if you just follow along exactly as we do here, you should not get to that quota at all. All right, so then I can now copy my key and click on this go to button. Then I get to this protect your API key, and you can protect your API key. You can say my API key will only be usable inside of a particular website, in a particular IP address, from a particular Android app, or API restriction in general. So I'm going to go over and say Android apps. Here you can select the package name of your project. So you could go ahead and, in my case, the project or package name is this one here. So tutorials, my shopping list app was the name. So I could say, hey, this should be the package name. And then I also need to add the SHA certificate. So the SHA-1 certificate fingerprint, which is basically a unique identifier for your project. And in order to get that SHA-1 certificate fingerprint for your particular application, what you can do is you can open up your Gradle here on the side. And then there is this execute Gradle task, this button here. And it might look different, but basically you want to get this run anything, open up with this Gradle, and then you enter signing report, okay? Signing report written together. And then you press enter, and this should then create the signing report for you. You can find the SHA in here. SHA-1 is this code here. So I can just copy the SHA-1 code here and use that in here and then restrict my key. So now, even if you do have my key, you should not be able to use my API key. So I should not be worried about you using my API key, because you would have to have my particular application and so forth. Anyways, that's out of the way. Now you can use your API key. So now I lost my API key. Where's my API key now? And in my case, for my shopper app, I did not even store or save my API key anywhere. So how can I find it back? I go to APIs and services. So from here, I go to keys and credentials to get my key, my API key back. And here I can find my Maps API key. I can click on show key and I can copy the key from here. So my key will not be lost. I will have it still with me. Now let's go ahead and store our key inside of our project. So there is a way to do that. We can go over to our manifest, Android manifest, and then in metadata. So basically inside of our application here, I can go ahead and add metadata. Let me get rid of Gradle here. I can add something like this, metadata, okay? And now in here, I can give the metadata a name, so Android name, and I'm going to use com.google.android. Let me check that it's really correct here, geo dot API underscore key. And it's important that it's written exactly like here, you see, with capital letters and then underscore. So the geo Android Google Maps API key will now be my Android value equals, and then that's where I add my key. So now my API key will be stored as metadata and I can access it whenever I need it. Okay, and in the next video, we're going to add geocode API and we're going to test how that works with our key. All right, so see you there.